All right, hello there, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So when last we left off, honestly, a couple of hours ago, we were working on filling out the speaker domains. Excuse me, from my previously drafted RPG documents here. So these are older versions of classes and subclasses that I am working to update to the current meta of my TTRPG and, bring it all together so that it is in a good place for publication. Eventually. That's publication is going to be several steps towards the future, but ideally I'd like to get this book in a presentable and playable state within the next, hopefully by the end of the year, but realistically within the next couple of years. And so my goal here is to bring everybody along on the process of writing, balancing a tabletop role-playing game. Alright, so what we have on the left-hand side here is the current iteration of the Underkeeper tabletop role-playing game. What we have on on the right here is going to be all sorts of previous editions of classes, and information and subclasses and archetypes and such there. I've also got loaded up in this tab over here the remainder of the rulebook, essentially. So this is going to be basically everything except Chapter 5, which is our classes and archetypes. So this is going to be Chapter 1 through what is currently set to 19. That number may increase, may decrease, but the point is I have a lot of stuff planned and, if nothing else, sketched out for what the future of this book can be. But yeah. So let's go ahead and we've already done 7 subclasses for the speaker today, so I'm thinking we just go ahead and finish our last 3, the Tempest domain, the Trickery domain, and the Valor domain. And then we probably will want to switch over to, I'm thinking probably the Anointed, and just do a couple of those subclasses. We might be able to do some Berserker stuff. It's just going to kind of be dependent on how the stream goes, how I'm feeling, what everyone's interested in. If you have questions about the RPG, I'd be happy to answer them. Just throw them in chat. Basically, whenever I am looking over this way here, I'm just checking chat, see what you guys are saying. But yeah, let's just have a nice night, take it easy, and yeah. So, when last we left off, we had written up the Splendor domain here. And honestly, one of the things we might be doing is we might be filling in some of these features tables here, since we've been leaving them blank, but that is something that we do need to work on. So let's go for the Tempest domain here. We're going to head to our what we've been using as our template, which is the Grave domain here. So we're just going to go ahead and copy that. Excuse me. And paste into Tempest. So, the Tempest domain features, we're just going to, basically anytime the word Grave shows up here, we're just going to replace that with Tempest. Alright. Okay, okay. So, our first level ability that we're going to get with the Tempest Domain archetype is we're going to get our channeling conventions here. So, the Tempest Domain has gains its boon when you prepare conjuration spells equal to your spellcraft modifier or higher from your speaker spell lists. Chosen speaker spell list, sorry. So that is going to be conjuration there, and they get a bane in that they cannot prepare enchantment spells. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and continue here. You gain resistance to lightning damage. Shocking, I'm sure nobody, because lightning damage, storms, thunder, and lightning. It all just kind of tracks and plays together there. So, from there, we have our Mystic Conduit feature, which I have sketched out a basic piece here as what is known as Storm's Calling. So first thing we're going to do is we are going to remove the ugly yellow highlighter from here, and then we're going to immediately add on an ugly yellow overlay for a comment here. So we're going to just make a note that this needs to be written. We're going to probably come back to this at a future stream here, but functionally what Storm's Calling is an Eldritch Invocation style feature. So when you use your Mystic Conduit, you're probably also going to be casting a spell with this one. And so what it does is it turns it into a bit of a chain lightning sort of experience where you target one creature and then the effects of the spell jump to 3 other target creatures within a range of the first. So we're just going to get some more lightning and bouncing between enemies. So, I'm not a huge fan. Well, here, let me go ahead and pull over our 5th and 8th level features for this archetype. These seem pretty boilerplate, that I didn't even give them that much of a named identity here. Our 5th level feature says, when you deal cold, fire, poison, or thunder damage to a target one size larger than you or smaller, you can push them up to 10 feet away to an unoccupied space of your choice. Honestly, as far as tactical games go, this is pretty good. Alright, so let's go ahead and give it some... Give this ability some love. Okay, so if we're talking about storms here, we're going to be talking about cold damage for sure, thunder damage, lightning damage. I'm surprised that one isn't here. Not necessarily fire or poison. Okay. Cold, thunder, lightning. What other ones? Honestly, I could see. Let's go ahead and throw force on there. No, actually, no. Let's hold back on throwing force there, but we will throw bludgeoning. When you deal bludgeoning, cold, thunder, or lightning damage to a target creature, one size larger than you or smaller, you can push the target up to 10 feet to an unoccupied space of your choice. What I think we can do here... Let's go ahead and jump over to our Warlord feature here. to our warlord class, that is, sorry. Because the warlord has this ability called forward, in which you allow free movement based on your heroic resource. So let's go ahead and copy this here. Okay. You can push the target to an unoccupied space of choice. So, forward gives us the ability here that says, at the start of your turn, you call your allies to advance the line of combat. Well, obviously we're not going to be doing that. All creatures of your choice within 30 feet of you that can hear you can shift up to a number of feet based on your current prowess. So when you deal bludgeoning, cold, thunder, or lightning damage to a target creature one size larger than you or smaller, you can push the target up to a number of feet based on your current number of words of power. Push the target to an unoccupied space of your choice up to a number of feet away based on your current number of words of power. It's a little bit I'm not a huge fan of the way that reads, but let's go ahead and jump here. So 0 to 3 words of power. That words of power compared to prowess, you're going to have less of them. So I'm going to say 0 to 1 words of power. We're going to say 2 to 4 words of power, and 5 plus. All right. So 0 to 1 words of power, 5 feet. Five feet is not a lot. So let's go ahead and just bump this to 10. We're going to bump 2 to 4 to 15. And we're going to bump 5 plus to 20. So once again, this is up to, so you can kind of choose. All right, so already this is a better feature. Still trying to think of a good name for it. I'm sure it'll come to me. Okay. So now what we need to do here, unfortunately, is, actually no, since we specified it's one size larger than you or smaller, we don't have to add in the what I've been calling the shove clause, which here, let me just go ahead and pull up the shove action. Where are you? There you are. Which according to the distance of your roll, for every size larger than you, the distance they are shoved is reduced by 5 feet. We don't need that since we specified that there is a maximum number of feet that you can push them. Okay. What I am wondering about doing here is increasing the potency of our ability here by saying push to an unoccupied space of choice, and then you can immediately shift 5 feet less than the number of feet pushed into a space that they vacate. I'm going to say no right now. Actually, you know what? No. When you move a creature in this manner, you or a friendly creature of your choice within 5 feet of you may shift up to an equal number of feet into a space, into unoccupied space adjacent to the target. So, when you move a creature in this manner, you or a friendly creature of your choice within 5 feet of you may shift up to an equal number of feet into an unoccupied space adjacent to the target. Okay. That actually brings me to our ranger clause here that we once again jump back and forth to. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until the start of your next turn. Okay. There we go. We just made that ability fantastic. So not only is it now something that I personally would want to use, but it has much more usefulness in a tactical, heroic, cinematic tabletop role-playing game. So if we are trying to create a situation where we need to move an enemy character, we now can do that, and then we can allow either ourselves or an ally near us to do so. I should actually also bring up a small little bit here that a little bit of the speaker class is influenced by the Aes Sedai of the Wheel of Time, in that I do like the idea of them having orders. So you are, kind of channeling the arcane weave, and then you cast big spells, and you have a martial character who works alongside of you. So I do want this class to have a little bit of a connection to that, where they are, as it says on their class document here, a defender primarily, a leader second. Honestly, we haven't really done a lot with defense. Hang on a second. Let me just go ahead and see what we have. Because we do want there to be an amount of player synergy here. I mean, we want there to be an amount of player synergy at all steps, but it was kind of designed in such a way that this class would be one of the better martial spellcaster synergy classes. So, honestly, this is a good feature for that sort of thing. Reflexes like lightning. Bear the force of thunder. Move reflexes of lightning. That is a bit of a long feature name, but I don't hate it. So, you know, that is better than a lot of the alternatives, I suppose. I'm just realizing that these are all heading 6s and not heading 5s. Which is very weird as far as features go. So let me go ahead and just do a quick little format chase here. Order domain. So, what do you guys think so far? Let me know what. I'm checking chat here as I'm going through here. Is there anything that is striking your fancy? Anything that you want to see expanded upon? Anything that you want to look back on as far as things that we can cover and discuss? We are almost there through this brief reformatting. All right, there we go. Now we are in a bit of a better spot there. All right. So, bear the force of thunder. Move with the reflexes of lightning. It's growing on me a bit. All right. So, 8th level feature here. This is quite good. Cast a cantrip or a spell of level less than equal to or less than your spellcraft level minimum. Is that the right phrasing? Other than your spellcraft, under your spellcraft. Okay. Less than your spellcraft minimum. That deals bludgeoning, cold, thunder, lightning damage. And just keep those same here. Actually, lightning should come before thunder. Just since we're going alphabetical. Okay, so when you cast a cantrip or a spell of equal or lesser spell of level equal to or less than your spellcraft, spell of level equal to or lesser than, equal to or less than. Now less makes sense here. When you cast a cantrip or a spell of level equal to or less than your spellcraft minimum that deals bludgeoning, cold, lightning, or thunder damage, you deal the maximum result on the die when determining damage. So this just sets a floor. This turns our pools of randomness into this turns our randomness into something that can be expected and something that is consistent. Okay. And we call it the storm always comes. Just as this ominous kind of harbinger thing. Just there's a storm on the horizon and it will always come here. The thunder will always crackle above you. The lightning will always strike. And it is consistent. And that is what I'm going for here. I am going for consistency. There we go. So that, I believe, is going to be the updated Tempest Domain speaker archetype. Now, I should also clarify here just once again, the reason that there are so many speaker archetypes is because the speaker is the only class that gets 2. So you can choose to customize your speaker character in a myriad of different ways. Let me go ahead and just grab my calculator here. So you have 10 archetypes to start. You can't choose the same one twice, so it's going to be 9 there. So yeah, there are 90 different combinations of speaker archetypes. Some I would recommend over others, but overall, I want it to be that it is kind of hard to go wrong here. Okay, so trickery domain. We jump to our good friend the grave domain to copy our there we go. Time to swap out graves for trickery. Alright, so trickery domain. First thing we have to jump into are our channeling conventions and resistance. So the trickery domain gains its boons with illusion spells. And they have an issue preparing evocation spells. Trickery domain gets a resistance to acid damage. Not I don't remember exactly why that one is the way it is. Let me check my table here. Okay, so I think it's. I don't want to say I think it's just because it's the only damage type that doesn't show up to another archetype, but this is the only one that is resistant to acid. So I think it was a little case of a bit of leftovers, and we can make acid a little bit work with some of the ideas of trickery. But it's mostly filling that niche. Okay, so trickery domain features here. Okay. So, our first thing here is going to be our Mystic Conduit, the speaker's version of Channel Divinity, and it is called Trickster's Mirage. This is your illusory duplicate. If you've played 5e, you know how illusory duplicates work. It's basically going to be very similar to that. So, 5th level here we have Reversal of Fortune. When a creature performs an ability that targets you, you can force the target to re-roll their attack roll. I don't hate the idea, but I think we can do better. So, when it can be one. Okay. So when a creature performs an ability that targets you, performs an action that targets you, you can force the target to re-roll their attack roll. Good to start with. If you expend 1 word power, hang on. This is already getting a little bit much. Sorry, in my head it is, at least. So I'm going to immediately just grab the once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until the start of the next turn line. I'm going to go ahead and jump back over here. Okay, so creature performs an action that targets you. You can force the target to re-roll their attack. Once you use it, you can't use it again until the start of your next turn. If you expend 1 word of power when you use this feature, the creature targeting you must target a different creature of their choice. So that's already 1 step better. So creature performs an action that targets you, you force them to re-roll their attack roll and use the new. If you expend 1 word of power when you use this feature, they re-roll, have to use a new roll, and they have to target a different creature of their choice. If you use this feature and have an illusory duplicate, nearby, you can end the illusory duplicates. End the illusory duplicate effect, and the creature's attack targets a creature of your choice. Within 20 feet of you. You can end the illusory duplicate effect, and the targets a creature of your choice. So, you have a Lich spellcaster here. They're going to cast... I don't know. They're going to cast... I don't know why I'm having a hard time coming up with a spell here. They're going to cast Ray of Enfeeblement at you. So, you are going to be like, no. Reversal of Fortune. You re-roll your attack roll. And that gives you a chance at them rolling a lower result. So, good little thing that you can have once per turn. However, let's rewind the clock here. You have a Lich. They're casting Ray of Enfeeblement. You say, Reversal of Fortune. You expend a word of power when you use this. The creature targeting you then throws that Ray of Enfeeblement towards another creature of their choice. Also rerolled. Rewind the clock again. You have a Lich. They're casting Ray of Enfeeblement. They are going to throw this at you. You force them to re-roll, and you have an illusory duplicate nearby. You can say, no, the illusory duplicate is going to become consumed. I'm making funny faces at them and distracting them, and they can't tell which is which. The illusory duplicate is consumed, and they hit one of their own allies with the Ray of Enfeeblement. And so the spell now is draining the intellect of the Bugbear Warlord, who is giving your party's pugilist a rough time. So yeah. Reversal of Fortune. Alright. 8th level feature. Not named, so that's already a great sign here. When you cast an illusion spell, you can magically turn invisible until the start of your next turn. Until the start of your next turn, or you make an attack roll or force another creature to make a resistance roll. Okay, so resistance rolls getting cut out here. Until the start of your next turn, or you make an attack roll. know why we need to specify magically here. You cast an illusion spell, you become invisible until the start of your next turn, or you make an attack roll. Master of Distraction. Master of Distractions. There we go. So I can honestly see Trickery Domain and something like Splendor Domain pairing really well together. Just because, like, man. Well, honestly, I could just see a lot of these pairing well together, and that's the goal. That is the goal. All right. Our final speaker subclass here. Let's go ahead and copy for the last time, the Grave Domain features. All right, Grave Domain. So we're going to go ahead and swap this over to Valor. Valor Domain is a little bit different, but not a ton. It's a Valor Domain. Here. There we go. Okay. So, channeling conventions for Valor Domain is a little different. Your domain tradition grants you one of the two following bonuses to your spellcasting. When you complete an extended rest, you can replace your chosen channeling convention with the other option listed below. Valor by Might. When you prepare a number of evocation spells equal to your spellcraft modifier, it's the same thing, you can't prepare abjuration. Or Valor by Determination. You can prepare a number of abjuration spells equal to your spellcraft modifier from your list. You can't prepare evocation spells. So it is just, you get to choose which one. And this is by design. One thing that I have noted is that a lot of the most powerful kind of magical effects in this game show up in the evocation class. The evocation circle. And so, as far as channeling conventions go, only one thing gets you access to a bonus with evocation spells, and that is Valor Domain. And this, once again, is by design. This is sort of your slightly more grizzled war veteran speaker here. So they are going to say they have the ability to throw higher power attacks. They have more of a story to tell. They have seen spell combat at a bit of a level that others might not. So that's why they have the potential to throw evocation spells as their boon channeling convention. Or they can instead be a valorous speaker who is more determined, who is more protective, and so therefore they get the bonus with abjuration and they block evocation. It is just a little bit of difference here or there, but it is a way to get a lot of evocation spells. Valor Domain Resistance. Once again, they get a slightly boosted option here. They gain resistance to force damage. And honestly, I think that this domain is probably going to get the most buffs and tweaks. But we're going to go ahead and just kind of copy stuff over and see here. Do the exact same thing we've done for the other unwritten mystic conduits here. It's currently called Shield of Valor, and my notes say to reference the Unearthed Arcana 6 War God's Blessing. I don't know how useful that's going to be, but I'll take a look at it and see if that is a viable strategy. If that is a viable course of action. It might... I don't know if it's SRD even, so this might not even be a thing that I can't do. Our 5th level feature, once again unnamed, bad sign. You can make a melee basic attack as a minor action. Don't hate this. I don't hate this. So, you can make a melee basic attack as a minor action. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until the start of your next turn. So once per turn, you can cast a spell, and then as a minor action, you can attack someone with a sword. Okay, so what do we call this ability? By sword and spell. I do. Okay, there we go. By sword and spell, I endure. Your 8th level feature here, this is going to get wholly undone. One, because we're getting rid of the distinction between magical and non-magical, and then also just because this is kind of boring. You are resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage. I don't think that is worthwhile. So let me go ahead and jump over to our order domain here, because I'm going to steal Arms of Ordnance, bring it forward to Valor domain here. And we're going to go ahead and change its name. So this is probably going to be like the Shield of Heroism, the Shield of Valor. The right tools for the job. No wires, caps. No, that... Vestiges of... No, because vestige is a term that we throw into our capstone abilities for these classes. So what are you called? Implements or implements of surviving. You gain proficiency with medium armor and shield. Okay. So our 8th level feature here will probably have something to do with shields. Might be the defend action, might be something like that. I mean, on one hand, we do have something within the nature domain here that is, hey, we can do some, we get a bunch of resistances. So let's actually take this as a baseline here. Or fortitude defense. Okay, so level valor. Okay, so okay, so obviously we can't call this the wild protects her own, because that is the nature domain. But I'm trying to think of a good kind of good thing to say here that is you can check up to feet to space choice creature being attacked. Take the defend reaction. To reduce the attack's damage by the value of your fortitude defense. Okay. You're going to make it through this. So yeah, we're going to make it through this. You shift up to 5 feet when a creature within 10 feet of you is targeted by an effect that would deal damage to them. And then you take the defend reaction to reduce the attack's damage by the value of your fortitude defense. Alright, so that is good stuff there. 8th level feature. You know, I have an idea. When you are bloodied. Oh, why is that? By attack. This is going to be a triggering thing here. Sorry, I am just trying to think back to other abilities here. Okay. When you take damage and are reduced beyond or bloodied hit point threshold, a number of creatures of your choice equal to your on one hand, I want this to be might. Equal to your spellcraft modifier. Actually, no. Hang on. No, we'll keep it spellcraft. We'll keep it spellcraft. Equal to your spellcraft modifier. Regain one spent armor point. Regain their choice of one spent armor point or 1 point of willpower. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest. Number of creatures of your choice. Can perceive you. No range, just they have to be able to perceive you. So yeah, keep fighting. When you take damage and are reduced beyond your bloodied hit point threshold, a number of creatures of your choice equal to your spellcraft modifier. Sorry, not equal to, up to. Important distinction there. A number of creatures of your choice up to your spellcraft modifier who can perceive you regain their choice of one spent armor point or one point of willpower. Once you use this ability, you cannot use it again until you complete a long rest. So this is a point of motivation. You are hit with a hard attack, you are reduced to or below your bloodied hit point value, to or beyond your bloodied hit point value. You call upon them to keep fighting. So yeah, I think that is the core of these speaker domains here. Let me check the clock here. I don't know, I'm already kind of feeling a bit tired. And mostly it's probably because I was streaming for 4 hours earlier today, so. I don't know. There's a part of me that wants to just kind of maybe call it a little bit early. I think what do you guys think? Do you want to see maybe one more subclass from the Anointed, or you want to just call it and maybe jump and come back tomorrow and hit up some more subclasses? It's like we just did 10 subclasses today, and I feel quite good about all of them, but that is also a lot of work. I think I'm gonna call it here. I'm just kind of feeling tired. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. If you want to see more, I have a almost 4-hour stream wrapped up a couple hours ago that is going through all of the other speaker domain features and updates. So please go ahead and check that out. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Take care of yourselves, and I hope you guys have a fantastic day. See you around.